Folks, the Delaware State women's lacrosse team wants to know why their team's bus was stopped and searched by a Georgia Sheriff's Department. The team was wrapping up a 3-game tour in Florida and Georgia when sheriff's deputies pulled the bus over and asked a very odd question to the team.
Why I'm coming on the bus right now is to tell y'all, look, we're gonna check y'all's luggage. Okay? If there is anything in y'all's luggage, we're probably gonna find it. Okay? I'm not looking for a little bit of marijuana, but I'm pretty sure you guys as chaperones are probably gonna be disappointed in you if we find it. You guys are on a lacrosse team, correct?
Yes.
So if there is something in there that is questionable, please tell me now. Because if we find it, guess what? We're not going to be able to help you. Okay? You go over to the state of Georgia, marijuana is still illegal in the state of Georgia. Okay? Anything that you can put marijuana in, maybe a device where you smoke it, maybe something that you would weigh it, like a set of scales, anything. Okay? If there's nothing, then I'm thankful to make my job a lot easier. We're going to get this done, and we'll have you guys on your way. Okay? You guys have any more questions for me? Have I explained it pretty good?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Give us a few minutes, and we'll be on. You guys will be on your way. Okay?
The sheriffs involved were from Liberty County, Georgia, which is about 28 miles southwest of Savannah. We contacted the Liberty County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff William Bowman. His assistant said he is not and will not make a statement until the internal investigation is complete. Pamella Jenkins is the head coach of the Delaware State University's women's lacrosse team, and she joins us now. First of all, Coach, I'm trying to understand. Why were y'all stopped?
That's a good question. How it was told to us is that our bus was driving in the left lane and that he wasn't supposed to be doing that.
Okay, I'm now confused. Were y'all on the highway?
We were on I-95.
Is it 2-lane or 4-lane highway?
I think it was a 3-lane highway.
Is that left lane a HOV lane, or is that a law enforcement only lane? What was the left lane?
Just the fast lane as far as our understanding was. So no HOV lane or any special lane at all.
So, okay, so the driver is in the left lane.
Yes.
They say he should not have been in the lane. Why are they not talking to the driver? How all of a sudden did it go to, we're about to search all of your bags for marijuana?
Well, how it started, they pulled us over. They asked him for his driver's license and registration. He gives it to them. Our bus driver gives it to them. And then the police officer says, you're not supposed to be driving in the left lane. Then they ask him to step off of the bus. So he exits the bus, and my players and I are just sitting here waiting. Then one of my student athletes looks outside of the bus to see what's taking so long. And she was like, they're taking our luggage out from underneath the bus, and they have dogs sniffing through our belongings.
Wait a minute. So at no point did these deputy sheriffs seek consent to search any bags?
Correct. They did not.
Okay. Continue.
Yes. So we see the dogs that are walking through and sniffing through our belongings. Then maybe 5 minutes later, 2 officers come on the bus, and that's where the video, that you see the video. And they're basically saying it in an accusatory tone of, we are here looking for narcotics. We're not looking for a small amount, as I'm sure that would still be upsetting to your chaperones. And he's saying, we're looking for anyhow that you weigh it, that you would, use it, whether it's a vape pen, whether it's an edible. And he's like, we're going to find it. So you're better off telling us now than for having us find it on our own, because if that happens, we can't help you.
How many people are on the bus?
25 players, 2 coaches, our athletic trainer, total 30.
So 30 people.
Yes.
So when she peeked out, they were pulling luggage off. And then what did they do? Did they actually unzip all of the bags and go through all of the luggage?
I did not see that, but when they went back out on the bus, they clearly did, because they came back on the bus with a gift that one of our student athletes had received from a family member, and that was inside of her suitcase. And they asked her what this was. And she's like, it's a gift from a
Well,
relative. And they were like, you accepted a gift that you don't know what it is?
are you serious?
Yes.
That's what the hell a gift is.
Yes.
Now, was she made to open the gift?
They took it off the bus and opened it. They let her know that they were going to be opening it.
Wait, they have drug sniffing dogs.
Yes.
She has a gift. She can't even open her own gift. They open the gift?
Correct. They go off the bus and open the gift. Then 10 minutes later, they come back on the bus and they're like, you're free to go. Have a safe trip.
Was the driver ever ticketed for driving in the left lane?
He was not ticketed, no.
How long did this whole exchange happen?
It took about 30 to 45 minutes in total.
So y'all were leaving Georgia to head back to Delaware.
Yes, that's correct. We were on our way out. Yes.
Have y'all been in communication with this sheriff's department?
So I know that the university is investigating it. So we have left that up to the university.
Wow. So, again, before I go to my panel, so let's see here. They claim the driver was driving in the left lane, but he wasn't supposed to.
Correct.
But it wasn't HOV, wasn't any of the designated lanes, so I don't get why the driver can't be in the left-hand lane. 2, they question the driver. They pull the driver off the bus. They check all bags. The driver never gets a ticket.
No.
Sounds to me as if they were using this excuse as an effort to search the luggage and hopefully try to find drugs.
Yes, that's how we felt.
What was the reaction from everyone else on the bus as y'all went on your way? What was the reaction? How did you then have to deal with what y'all had just experienced?
Everyone was very quiet. We were still pretty early into the trip. It wasn't early morning. This was day 6 of our road trip on our way home. So we were also exhausted. I think we were all just in disbelief that this was happening to us. He addressed us as a lacrosse team, so he knew that. And our bags say Delaware State Lax on them. So I think we were all in disbelief. It definitely took some time before we all started talking again further into the trip. And the bus driver was apologetic, but we were like, you didn't do anything wrong. This isn't your fault.
Let's go to my panel here. Michael Brown, you first.
Coach, how are you? Sorry you had to go through that level of harassment as we've been certainly going through as a people for the last 420 some odd years. Coach, and I know it's hard because when police officers, in particular white police officers, are on the bus, if no one wants to really what they would probably consider being a smart aleck. But did anybody ask at the time, and we didn't hear it on the video, why did you pull us over in the first place? And I know you probably don't have any lawyers on the bus and say, what's the probable cause for pulling us over besides baloney left lane violation or supposed violation.
Right. So one of my student athletes asked the officer, how did this go from a routine traffic stop to narcotics dogs sniffing through our belongings? And his explanation was that on this stretch of highway that they see a lot of charter buses smuggling narcotics and people, so that they have to stay vigilant with their efforts.
Well, please make sure, I know you're letting the university handle it, but as they are, moving forward in the process, make sure they ask the sheriff's office to give you some statistical data of how many white buses have been pulled over in the same kind of situation.
Absolutely. I sure will.
Jeff.
Yes, Sister Jenkins, I appreciate you and everything you've been through. As Michael Brown said, as for that statistical data, I'm going to add to that. Ask for the statistical data on the number of buses that have actually been pulled over where they did discover narcotics, because it's been my experience that usually when you see troopers parked on the side of the interstate, it's because they have a very specific tip. So they aren't necessarily hunting someone. So the fact that you were targeted went way beyond some flimsy excuse about trying to find drugs on the bus. Let me ask you what you're doing now, because this was a traumatic experience for everybody involved. What are you doing now to look out for the mental health of the young people who experience this in real time and may have said, you know what, this is something that my parents or grandparents talked about, but I'm experiencing it now. How are you looking out for them?
Well, and especially the concern is for a lot of them, this was their first interaction with law enforcement. So, of course, that makes it even more difficult. And as a coach, traveling by charter bus is our main way of transportation. So the last thing I want is for our student athletes to be nervous to get back on the road for us to travel for our games. So there are virtual services that are available through our institution. Right now, the student athletes are home. They came back and they had to get straight to finals and then had to pack up their belongings and go home for the summer. So they're currently home. So our communication is solely via FaceTime or Zoom at the moment. So I'm just checking on them because I know even for myself, it was re-traumatizing seeing that video and talking about it. It was a very scary experience. As a coach, you want to protect your student athletes. And in that moment, I felt like I could not protect them, that I could just lead by example and stay calm. So I'm proud of the way that they handled themselves, staying composed in that stressful situation. And there wasn't a doubt in my mind that I didn't have anything, at least for my players, to worry about.
Before I go to Congo, on your bus, did you have any signage on the outside of the bus stating that this was the Delaware State lacrosse team?
We did not have any signage on the outside. Just when they came on the bus, we were all wearing our
Right.
gear, but there was nothing on the outside of the bus.
Got it. Congo, go ahead.
Yes, Coach Jenkins, this is really terrible. As a professor myself, I teach these same age students, and so I'm looking at my own students going through this experience and how traumatic it could be. Are there things that we can do going forward to support you and the women on the team? I know with so many other issues, there are campaigns and other things going on, but I just would love to figure out if there's a way that the community can embrace them, especially now that they're home for the summer and everybody is all split up.
I think going through this process and talking to others about their experience has been therapeutic. So I think giving them the platform so that they're trying to prevent this from happening to anyone else. So I think that's right now our focus is for us to kind of bind together and do what's necessary to get the word out to make sure that no one else has to go through this.
Terrible.
Well, it is certainly unfortunate that your players had to deal with this. Have you heard from any of their parents as a result of this situation?
I have heard from a few parents and even parents of our incoming freshmen for next year, just voicing their support and just how proud they are of how the young ladies compose themselves during a very stressful situation.
All right, then. Well, certainly keep us abreast of what happens with this story next. And I'm quite sure having a president who was a longtime U.S. Senator from Delaware also helps. So I wonder if the Department of Justice will be looking into this. And of course, the president's White House HBCU initiative is actually headed by the Delaware state president.
Yes,
All
yes. And so we'll definitely keep you posted. Thank you very much.
right, Pamela Jenkins, we certainly appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Go back to my panel here. I mean, this Michael speaks to, again, what happens when you're black in America. I mean, for these officers, oh, we're used to seeing human trafficking and people smuggling drugs. You pull now, and you pull the officer over, and apparently the left lane is only for passing. Okay, so, but here's what I don't understand: if you pull the driver over for being in left lane, how you not give him a ticket?
Especially if, I mean, I think we've all seen signs where if you're going too slow, you can be certainly pulled over because you're, clogging up the left lane. But since the driver didn't get a ticket, clearly wasn't that big of a deal. But to your first part of your query, it's unfortunate still that these officers just can act like this with impunity. I mean, and again, just going back to the first segment, until there are some real consequences to actions against, and I think you're right, because clearly the sheriff, who is African American, or certainly appears to be African American in the picture, clearly these white officers thought, doesn't matter whether we have a black sheriff, we're going to continue to do what we want anyway. So it has nothing to do with white, black. I think one of my co-panelists said it earlier. It's between black people and people in blue uniforms. So the only way to stop the impunity is to have consequences for actions.
Absolutely cannot wait to see, Jeff, the response from this black sheriff.
Oh, I can't wait either. But to quote Brother Michael Brown, who said it perfectly, he appears to be African American in the picture. When we talk about elected officials, oftentimes people think, well, if we just get black elected officials, if we just get people in high positions, everything is going to change. I remind people that racism is a system, and that means that it is designed to operate a certain way. So if you do not, if you can change out the operators of the machine, but if they are not systemically changing the machine, then they're just pushing the button and we're getting the exact same result at the end. So my hope is that this sheriff will step forward and demonstrate to all of those who hope that the alignment of the color and the picture is also in alignment with the action, and he will hold these officers accountable because these kids are now singing the 1965 song El Pito, which is that Dizzy Gillespie hook, I'll never go back to Georgia. And we want people to make sure that there are consequences. It's going to be interesting to see, as you pointed out, that the president of Delaware State is also chair of the president's HBCU commission. So this may be one of the rare occurrences where, to quote Ice Cube, they may have picked the wrong fill in the blank to mess with.
I'm a Congo. Again, as I saw that video, I instantly thought back to that scene from the movie The Five Heartbeats.
Yep. I was thinking the same thing. I was waiting for that nothing but love. So, I mean, I literally was feeling that moment, man. And what's sad about it is we go back to the Five Heartbeats. These are grown men dealing with that situation. These young girls get it at that age and get the early trauma that they're going to have to be dealing with for forever. I remember I was driving on the highway once and an officer drove next to me, put the flashlight into my car as I was driving, then pulled me over after realizing I was black. And while he was having me out of the car, tried to convince me that I was drinking. So, and I don't drink. I have never had an alcoholic beverage in my life. And my point is, when he was talking about if y'all got something in the bag now, you might as well show it. It was like this an entrapment type of thing that he was doing. He thought that he was smart in what he was doing. And what if somebody did have something? Then you're going to take one of those women off the bus and what they got to sit in a Georgia jail alone for the entire night or days. I mean, this Sandra Bland thing is going on in my head right now in terms of what the possibilities were. And so really at the end of the day, this man introduced early trauma to these young ladies that's going to be with them for the rest of their lives. And there needs to be some real consequences because, again, like you said, Roland, no ticket, no nothing. And so the goal was to intimidate. He succeeded in that. And now these sisters got to deal with it for a very long time. And they need to make sure that they're getting the services that they need. And there needs to be some consequences for their actions. Because right now, Roland, the rest of the country is caught up on the escapee from Alabama jail with the security guard or something like that. I just saw that on CNN and Wolf Blitzer. Ain't nobody talking about this situation. And so for you to bring it to national attention, we need more of this, and we can't let this story go. This is for our kids, man.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Mark Unfiltered video in just one moment. Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?